We are live. Welcome to the episode 15 of
When two or more with them.
When Two or More with the McCaws. We've had a few weeks off. We've been very busy, haven't we?
Yeah.
There's been a lot that's been going on, and we have been. What does empacar mean? Empacar. Packed. Our life has been empacada.
No, this doesn't make sense.
No, fair enough. Yeah, I forgot about the word. I've just heard this word. I was like, yeah, wrong word. Bad example. Here we go. Right, welcome to another episode of When Two or More with the McCaws. Thea's with us. She's happy. She's content. Maybe we've made a rookie by not taking her for a walk first.
That's okay. Let's just start.
Let's hope she's settled. We're talking about expectations here. A nation's expectations is the name of the episode. And I think, it's a really interesting topic to get into. Have you got a drink with you?
Yeah.
What have you got?
A bottle of water.
Bottle of water. Yeah, we're going water deep. I'm half marathon training at the moment for Sunday. And so water is just the best way, although it's in one of these vitamin waters. Remember when you bought this? And he bought this bottle on Sunday from...
No, it was last... yes, Sunday.
Sunday from where?
From Waitrose.
Morrison's.
Morrison's.
And it was... This is disgusting, basically. Disgusting. But there you go. Right, let's get into expectations and the expectations we have. Nanny, what are expectations?
Well, it depends. Something that you are hoping or feel like you have to do.
You have to do, or just other people as well?
But also it depends of which context are you talking about.
Yeah. Expectations, I would say, are a feeling that something should happen. Is that consistent? It's a feeling, it's a feeling that something should happen. Yeah, you're expecting it to happen, or you're expecting something of someone, something, somehow. Yeah. What do you think in our day-to-day are typical examples of expectations? Go.
But in what aspect? You mean at work?
Anything.
Well, maybe at work they expect you to be the best, or to be on time, to be...
Yeah. Do you think those expectations come because of rules that are laid out?
Yes.
Yeah. So in rules that work rules, basically. Laws are another good one. I'm moving further away here. Laws are another good one. The expectations that we have to behave and fit within a certain frame within society, like driving on the left. In the UK, we drive on the left side of the road. In other countries, it might be the right, but to drive on the right side of the road, there is an expectation for you to do that. And I think laws are different. Laws are, obviously you follow laws. It's good to follow laws, but there are other things that aren't so obvious, like we don't have. And I think that's really what we want to cover today, is the expectations that we set out for our lives, our relationships, expectations that we hold for other people. It's clear when it's a law. It's clear. It helps us communicate when it's a job rule.
I think a law is very different than expectations.
No, but it's the government's expectations for us. Once they set the law, they're holding it. Same way, Centre Parks or wherever you work or wherever have a law, that a rule book that they go, you should stick to this, and you should do this, and there's many different reasons for why they have them at play.
Yeah.
But what do you think? Let's give some examples, or let's talk about expectations that we hold for us as individuals, for ourselves or other people, that aren't based on laws. Do you know?
For example, like you have to get married at a certain age, you need to buy a house at this age, you need to have kids at this age.
Great example.
Or you need to have a girlfriend when you're a teenager. if you don't have a boyfriend or girlfriend when you're 14, oh,
Yeah.
you know, all these expectations that when you're a child you start having,
Yeah.
and just put pressure on you.
Mm-hmm. I think some of them, I don't think expectations are always bad. Do you know what I mean? It's nice to think I want to have a good life. I expect that I will have a good life. If I work hard and I, enjoy what I'm doing and build good relationships, good things will happen to me as a result of being. I don't think there's anything wrong in expecting or wanting those things for ourselves. But where do you think? I mean, you've covered there. You've talked about when it's a bit damaging. What's your experience as an individual? So forget our relationship. What's your experience as an individual of the damage that maybe expectations have done for you?
I feel a lot. For example, like when you're 24, you're gonna be 25 is a big thing because everyone start getting engaged. So if you're not
Really?
engaged, yes, you're not engaged at that age. It's like,
Okay.
oh, you're never gonna get married. So
Yeah.
that pressure of society, really, because it's just society who said that, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that.
Yeah.
But it's not something good.
That's a real thing. I saw a video once of a guy who was looking outside his window. I think he was looking at someone with a bike, and that guy on the bike, they moved to, like, dreaming that he could have this bike. He's like, oh, I wish I had that bike. And then went to the guy on the bike who was along somebody in a really nice car, and that person was he was dreaming. He was on this bike dreaming about having the car. And then the guy went to the car, and the guy was driving alongside another guy on the other side who had a sports car. And so we always compare, don't we? And we don't realize that actually some of the simple things, even just having a bike, a lot of people would love to be in that situation.
Yes.
So that
Full expectations could be very damaging because it starts with, like, comes another thing that is the comparison.
Yeah.
So you start comparing yourself to others, and then for some unnecessary pressure that just society has put on you. Or Instagram, for example, like you see a lot of people living the perfect life when really is not. Because of course people is not going to be posting all the bad things, on social media.
So what you're saying is that our expectations there's our expectations for ourselves, but sometimes they're heightened because we see other people living a life, and we think because they're kind of the same age, or that we should also have that for our lives as well. Is that what you mean?
No, I mean, like, for example, society shows you if you have this bag,
so the
then you're going to be, the society.
But do you not think that you see that through your friends on social media? So your friends are like an output for, you say you're looking on social media and your best friend has a baby. Do you not think that it's them having the baby that pushes you to go, oh, I need to, because that person was once is my age, and that's what we should be doing at our age?
No, I feel it's like the society. For example, the society said to you, and like, when you're 30, you need to have babies because otherwise you're going to be too old. So you have that idea in your mind, and they sell it, like all the markets, all the, everything on social media sell you that idea. And even not even just with that, for example, like clothes. Like if you wear these clothes, then you're going to be attractive, or you're going to be famous, or you're going to be this.
So I would say I hear what you're saying, but the other thing is I'm not a woman, so it's like we don't get adverts that say, oh, when you're 30 you need to have a baby.
But you have the thing of when you're 30
you
need to buy a house, you need to have this car, you need to be financially stable.
Yeah. So I think in the UK our goal is, or they push the goal on you earlier, to do that earlier rather than an age. So it's not like, that was strange to hear you say, 24 and 25 engagement. That might be a thing out in Guatemala that I just don't know about, but I guess the underlying message that there is that you want to all do this as fast as possible. Young people have got to do this as fast as possible. And I think it's kind of dangerous.
Yes.
Because you end up comparing yourself to someone else, and it's that comparison that means that increases an expectancy of you on yourself, because you can see someone else living like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you're right. Society definitely does throw these things at us in such a weird way. It's not as if they send you a letter in the post that says you need to live this way by this, but it's like,
but I feel also
society.
like maybe you're gonna be fair on this, maybe you're not gonna agree on this, but I feel like I feel women in general receive a lot of pressure from society. I'm not a feminist, I'm just to clarify, but I just see, like, as a woman, I feel the pressure of society, like, and I think every woman feel this pressure of society, like you, like they always show advertisements and everything of very thin women, very thin, and then you think, if I am not that thin, I'm not good enough, or if I'm not that pretty enough, if I don't have my face like very, very thin, that you don't have any cheeks at all, then I'm not beautiful, as society shows, when really it's like, that's why you see a lot of people with anorexia and bulimia and all of these problems, because they show this is the standard, this is how it should be.
And people feel like they're falling short of that standard.
Yes, and not everyone has first the same metabolism.
Yeah.
And also like the bone structure, you know, like some people have like their bones are bigger, so they're never gonna be thin.
Yeah.
But that pressure is like really big.
Really big. Really big.
And they push you, if you see it, like they push all of these things so that people get a lot of surgeries and then get money from that. So all the society pressures are for people to just spend.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. But I can't relate to I don't disagree with you at all. I just can't relate to it. You know, why would I be able to relate to it? You won't be able to relate to the pressures on men because you don't feel them.
No, but I understand.
Yeah, you understand it, and we can talk about it, and this is how I feel. But I think men are built differently, women are built differently, and so what languages, the way we feel and the way society talks to us, we kind of communicate with differently. And it's like, oh, okay, this is, you know, men have a desire to provide for their family, for example. You know, stereotypically, I think that's the way, part of how we're created. And I think there's a pressure on men to do that. And so the way that looks is incredible. I don't think it helps with things like social media that we play into the hands of that stereotype by comparison. So we look at comparison. It's like, oh, I know this stereotype. I know I've got to do all of this. But then I see Ricky, who lives down the road, who's got this new car. Now, I know that I'm meant to have the best car as fast as possible. But first of all, it's absolute nonsense. But two, it's not helped. So anybody that hasn't got a firm foundation of the fact that is absolute nonsense and doesn't know where they're standing would feel.
But even us, like I've always know what my identity is, and you know, from a very young age, I put myself like very close, try to learn about my identity and find my identity in God. So you might think like you are strong in your identity, but like you still feel the attack, you know. Even with all of these filters and all of these things, like it's very hard, you know, sometimes with that pressure of society, or tell you have to dress some way, certain way, to be sexy or to be attractive, otherwise you're not. So,
but I think we can detach ourselves from it.
Of course. I'm just telling that it could happen to everyone.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Don't get me wrong, there are moments where I'm like, oh, am I doing this? Am I doing this right? I need to, and I do have to slap myself and remember what's important in life, because it's just not right at all. But that's good.
We can put some, instead of living the expectations of the world, we can put a stop on that, and we can put expectations for ourselves. So what do I expect from myself? And realistic expectations of what you can achieve.
Yeah.
And that way, I feel like it helps you a lot to stop comparing yourself with someone else.
Yeah.
Because you're not taking the pressure from the outside, but for yourself, just to use it as energy to do something good.
Definitely. I think that's really good. And that brings us nicely into, so they're the expectations that we as individuals hold for ourselves. What expectations coming into this relationship did you have of being in a relationship?
I loads.
Oh, yeah?
Yes,
You
like
did?
my mom. I'm gonna tell a little story.
Go on.
But I always
We're
like,
here for the story.
even if like my brothers and everyone, like I'm the youngest of 6,
Mm-hmm.
so I have 4 brothers and 1 sister. And my mom and my dad, my dad died when I was very young, but all the memories I have from my dad is like the perfect marriage.
Yeah.
They never like, I've never heard them having an argument or my dad doing something a face to my mom or shouting or being angry or even being like annoyed at something. He always treated my mom with so much care and like literally like a queen, literally like a queen.
Yeah.
And he always had everything that she needed.
Yeah.
So of course for me the expectations coming into a marriage, I thought this is the idea that I have of a marriage.
Yeah.
And my dad was so respectful and so loving and caring with my mom.
Mm.
So I was thinking, I'm not expecting less than that because that's the idea that I've seen of love in my parents. And also the idea when you are knowing God and you learn about God's love, you know what your worth is and you know what you deserve. So you come into a marriage and you think, this is what I deserve. So I came into this marriage with my expectancy like really high, and everything expecting the best because that's what I've seen.
Yeah.
That's the love I've seen in my family, and I never saw any disrespect or anything different.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you. What would I say on relationships? I don't know what I expected. Do you know what? I'm going to go out and say it. I guess my expectations, my underlying expectations, would have been that my wife would have just come in and fit into my life, basically. I think really everybody to a certain extent thinks that way. But I do believe that actually, like, my kind of life was obviously, self-centered. And you kind of marry someone, you think, oh, great, I'll get to do all the things that I like to do already, just with somebody else. And I think that's really real. Like, I think that's really I think that actually goes on for a lot of people. And that's their kind of thoughts. And I think both a husband and wife can do that for a long time before they realise, wait, this isn't just a...
Because I was expecting also like someone very romantic because my dad was like, he always like, I always like make joke with Stuart. Said to Stuart like, I would listen to this song. My dad did like, ¿cómo se dice? ¿Se dedicó?
I played it loud.
No, se la dedicó. Like he
dedicated
this song to my mom because my dad used to dedicate a lot of songs to my mom, and he was very romantic, always hugging my mom, kissing her, and giving her gifts and all of that. So I expected a lot of that when I came into this marriage.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, that's the thing, is you kind of expect, okay, this is the way I'm living it, my life. I'm driving my own vehicle in life. And this other person's going to get in the side seat, and I'm going to go, buckle up, come on, this is my ride, and you're in for it too. And that's it. And there's a very real selfishness that takes place.
Yeah.
And actually, it doesn't take a couple of months or a few courses to sort out. It takes a good amount of years, really, to sort out. I don't think we're there completely.
No, because I didn't understand at the beginning because my languages of love are very different than Stuart's. So I it's a bit selfish to think, well, this person has to love me this way all the time, and not understand that the other person might love you, but in a different way, in its way.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that the other person say, well, I love you in this way, so you just get on with it. Just both have to put an effort to love the other person the way the other person would like to receive love.
Yeah.
Both do an effort, but also both being humble and not selfish to just expect the love that you want without being like open to give the love or the things that the other person are expecting.
Yeah, that's real. Thank you.
This is-
Thank you for sharing that. What do you, I'm going to ask you the big question now. You ready? The big question is, did I fulfill your expectations? Please don't use profanity. No, I'm just joking. You
Are you
wouldn't
really
swear,
asking me this like live?
but live, I'm asking you, and I'm prepared to take it.
I know.
Hit me. Go. Hit me, and this is obviously the first time.
Well, I'm
Well,
not.
I know the answer. In a nutshell, I know the answer. I was
No.
perfect, and we lived happily ever after, like the three bears and Goldilocks and
Well,
porridge.
no offense to that, but not
Mhm.
really.
Mhm.
Not really.
Okay, explain why.
Because I was expecting so much. I have the. And you were rubbish. No, sorry. no, it's just Stuart was a very different person than the man he is today. And I'm really proud of you. You've grown so much in this marriage. So much. And yeah.
And yeah.
You were not really
Yeah.
you were not really fulfilling what I was expecting.
So to relate that back to your expectations. So you've talked about your expectations. You've talked about how I didn't fulfill them. Why didn't I fulfill your expectations?
Because you were very different in personality. For example, you were not used to be expressive.
Yeah,
you were not
okay.
expressive.
That's it. Relate them back to the things that you had. So romantic, expressive.
Okay.
Yes.
So for example, my dad was very romantic and very expressive in words with my mom.
Yeah.
My two languages of love are first words and second gifts.
Yeah.
Because that's the way my mom and dad used
Money.
And that's the way, because my dad used to work really hard, and he just came back during the weekends to the house. So every time he came back, he brought a lot of gifts to us.
Yeah.
So that's the way that I've received love.
Yeah.
And my mom, of course, she's always encouraging me, and she's really, really encouraging all the time. And when I came to this marriage, I expect that from you. I expect Stuart to be this romantic person that tells me, "Oh, it's raining. Let's walk together in the rain." You know, and some of you might be hearing this and you might think, "Ugh, that's disgusting. It's so cheesy." But when you're a child and your dad died at a very young age, and that's the last image that you have about love, that's what you expect because you've seen it. That's the first example that you see about love. So that's why, if for some people might be cheesy, that's okay, but my experience is different, you know. So I expect that on you, and you are not like that at all. But then you start changing yourself, and you start like adapting, and you start like exploring what it is to be romantic in your own way. And that's something very important, in your own way, because I can't be so selfish and say, well, that's not enough, you know, because I know that you're never going to be like my dad was with me. Because that's a different person. But you are being romantic, you have been expressive, you have been all the things that I wanted, you've been fulfilling them with the time because you've been working really hard in your own way. And that's amazing, because that's what you really should expect. You should expect, well, I want you to be like this person in this movie. You know, that fake expectations of someone.
Yeah. Well, I guess just over time I learned that was what you appreciated, and it was good to be able to do that. And you certainly bring out a side of me that pushes against who I am. But it's like a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm the type of person that." It's a load of nonsense. Like, you're not the type of person that just, I'm the type of person that doesn't, I don't know, have a shower every day.
I was going to say that.
Like, you can't just be that type of guy. If you know, or girl or woman, if you know that that's going to bring a better version of you out, you become that type of person. You start having a shower every day. And I could have easily said, I'm not the type of guy to do that sort of stuff. Or I can actually push into an area of me that isn't who I am now, but it could be who I am, and go, I could be more romantic. I could be, but what does that look like for me? And and try and push up against that and become a better person, I guess. And that's taken years, and I'm still not there. I'm certainly still not there, but I am trying to engage with
The first 2 years were very difficult.
Very difficult, very difficult. And it was tough, really tough. But I guess that's the thing, isn't it? The expectation. You had expectations, and that's why probably the first year of marriage is the hardest, is because you realise that person doesn't fit to the expectations, and I'm sure you start asking yourself questions. Oh, was this person who I was meant to be with? Did I marry the right person? And the truth is, there isn't really, in my opinion, there isn't really the right person.
Because there's always going to be, if there's someone else having what you want, it's going to be failing in a different thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's never going to be everyone that is, perfect in everything. And that's why it's really nice to marry someone and work together through the things. Yeah. Because we can look back now and see how much we've grown together. Yeah. And it's amazing because the love increases, every day.
Yeah. That's it. It's just so interesting. You touched on a really good point there, didn't you? What did you say at the start? The bit about man, I was going to elaborate on what you said. That's the thing. When as individuals as well, this is just something that I've been through. I've been through those times where, like, I've had that mental thought where I'm like, oh, what if this? The grass is always greener kind of thought. And I'm like, oh yeah, but what if I did this, and what if I did that, and what if I did this? And Nanny's right. Like, realistically, if you went and did those things, you'd have other problems. There's gonna be times in your marriage, 100%, where somebody else is gonna look more attractive than your husband or wife. 100%. You're not real. You're not real if you don't go through those. But actually, you need to.
Or not even more attractive, but fitting into your selfishness.
Well, that's what I mean. Not like physically more attractive. I mean, actually, their way of life might be more attractive to you than someone else. And you have to just remember why you made the decisions you did, number one. But two, remember that the grass isn't greener. So it might be that actually in those areas, that person might be better than your husband or wife. But in other areas, they'll be worse. And what happens then is you go with that person, go do it, go see what it's like. But you'd soon realise that someone else would come in with something else, and you'd be tempted to go off that way. It's going to happen. The grass
and then to imagine, you think, well, I'm going to go with someone else, and then imagine all the years that took you in the relationship that you are actually at the moment. You have to start again from zero, getting to know a new person, working through the difficult things that the other person will have. Just a lot of mess.
A lot of nonsense. 100%.
Yeah, so nonsense. It is worth, even when it's hard. Yeah. Even when marriage is hard, it is worth fighting. Yeah. I've read a quote that says, like, being single is hard. Being married is hard. Choose your heart. But do you know what? You explain it better.
I've got it.
Like, it says choose your heart. Because it says, like, if you are with someone right now, it's difficult. But then if you find someone else, it's also going to be difficult. So choose your heart.
Where is it? I had it somewhere.
You posted now.
I think I did post it. I think I did. So that's it. It says, marriage is hard. Divorce is hard. Choose your heart. Obesity is hard. Being fit is hard. Choose your heart. Being in debt is hard. Being financially disciplined is hard. Choose your heart. Communication is hard. Not communicating is hard. Choose your heart. Life will never be easy. It will always be hard. But we can choose our heart. Pick wisely. Boom. Unreal. Really good. That's a really, really, really good point. And also, I think we sometimes, going off a little bit, we sometimes wait until. Oh, okay. Your mom said one of the wisest things to me when we were having difficulty. We were having some problems. We were arguing. We were during these stages that happen, arguing and all sorts of stuff. And it was really shaky at the time. And we were in McDonald's. If you've never been there before, it's a posh restaurant in Guatemala. And we were sitting in McDonald's. I don't think we were even eating. Body's a temple and all that. We were sat at the back. Like, we just used it as an opportunity to get out of the house, I think. And your mom was there. And Jolie said to me, she said, what like basically, what were Nanny's expectations? Ask her what her expectations are at this, because I was moaning about her effectively in one way or another. I'm like having a moan at the fact that, yeah, but this is this, and she doesn't do that, and she doesn't do this. Basically, expressing my expectations and how Nanny has fallen short of my expectations. And Jolie basically said, "Well, what are her expectations?" And I was like, "Oh, flip."
On the neck.
Like karate chop to the face.
Why are you saying about my daughter?
Yeah, that was, but basically, yeah, like she basically went, like, in a nutshell, there was two things from it. The first thing is, what are your expectations? How do I know that you hold the same expectations that I do? Unless I ask you, right? And the second thing is, what are my expectations? Like, what are they, and where did I get them? Because our cultures, especially with us, like our cultures have encouraged what we expect.
Yes.
And so we come up against this situation where it's like relationships are hard anyway. We've just elaborated. We've just discovered that. But you know, to do it cross culturally is I'd say is even harder. Because you don't have the same expectations. You know, we don't do that. I've been in situations with friends where they've been like, "Oh, you should have done this, or you could have done that," and it's all to do with expectations. If you sit down, I'm sure that most car traffic incidents wouldn't be major, or major fights wouldn't be a fight, if people just took the time to explain, well, this is where I was coming from.
Yeah.
And if you explained and heard where that person was coming from, we then have the ability to go, oh, I didn't really see it like that. You know, if I'd waited, or I'd seen like this, because we see it from different angles. We come at it from different angles. And sometimes I guess in relationships and marriage, we, especially men have the problem of going, it's like a car. It's basically like a car. Men won't look at the car unless it's on the side of the road, not working. Then men will look at the car. And actually, what we should do is look at check the car way before that. My dad's always on at me about looking at the car and making sure it's working actively, rather than waiting until you're stuck on the side of a road. I think we do that with relationships a little bit, in the fact that we'll almost sit and wait until there's problems. You know, you say, "Oh, I went to counselling." Everyone goes, "Oh, what problems were you having?" It's not about the problems. It's about like, what are you trying to work on? What are you, like, you're growing in all the time, maintaining, managing, rather than waiting until you crash and burn.
That's really good.
But yeah, is there anything else you want to add into that bit? How long we've been going for now? Oh, where are we? How long have we got?
I don't know.
32 minutes. 32 minutes. 52 minutos.
No, 32.
32? Vaya. Wow, I haven't done Spanish in ages. I need to go back to Guatemala. Guatemala. Yeah, so that's just really interesting. And these are just things that we've learned and are growing in, and have been slapped in the face with, because we've learned the hard way. We've been that couple that have sat at the end of the road in the car because we've waited until it's crashed and burned, rather than checking the car on a regular basis, basically.
And we like to be very honest, because I feel like you see couples and you think, oh, everything is perfect. And then you think, well, I'm the only one having issues in my marriage. I'm the only one having difficulties. And all the time wondering, or as Stuart said, like, I think we all have this question, or at some point thinking like, did I make the right decision, or all these things. But it's really important to know and to recognize that we are all in this together. Like High School Musical said.
Absolutely. We are all flipping. Did you really just say that?
I know with that comment, Stuart was thinking, why is she saying?
Wow. Get in the bin. What team?
Yeah, Wildcats. But it's very important to...
Olive. Sorry, Karen.
Wildcats.
Wildcats. Yeah, you totally missed it. I'm in it. I was in it on my own. That's fine.
Yes. So it's very important to first don't let the wave of the pressures, all this society pressure to tell you things, or and also to to go to counseling.
So you read out.
Like read books together about marriage, get all the knowledge. No one is perfect. No one has a
Keep
perfect
growing.
marriage. Even the Bible says, whoever thinks is strong, like, look, ¿cómo se dice? Mire que no tropiece. Look that doesn't fall. This verse, I don't know it in English, but it says, like, if you think that you are strong, just keep being, like, keeping an eye on it to don't fall.
Okay.
Because no one is perfect.
Like pride?
No.
Okay. I don't know the word. So. But then anyway, yep. So that's really good. I was going to say, we've talked a little bit about expectations we've had for other people. We've had on as individuals. We've talked a little bit about relationship expectations and how I totally failed in fulfilling Nanny's expectations. But that's cool. Like, we're winning. We're doing all right. We're growing. Now I want to talk about the fact that so basically we're talking about the fact that people will let you down. And what that directly means is that you will set people up sometimes to be better than they are. Friends of yours, family members. In fact, they can be the worst because sometimes we set them so high that, and they fall because we've set them up. And actually, I think what's great is understanding that actually people are people and God is God. And I think what we wanted to finish with is kind of some basically like expectations that we can have of ourselves and what God does through us, basically through this time. So we can expect these 6 things. I think we'll talk about them as we go through. So we can expect in Christ transformation. Do you think that's a fair comment? Do you think that's a fair one? Yeah.
Yes.
What do you think? What would you say about that?
That we can expect God to transform us.
Wow, that is deep. You're just gonna.
Yeah, we should be willing to be transformed by God. We should be expecting every day to be challenged by God, to be challenged by the Scripture, to be challenged by new things that He expects from us. Because we know in God there's a safe place.
Yeah.
He would never expect things from us to do harmful. Is that the right way to say? No.
To do harm?
To do harm, yes. So everything that God expects from us, it is because it's for our good.
Yeah.
So.
Do you want to read that? Do you want to read this out?
2 Corinthians 3:18. You read it?
Yeah. It says, "But we all, with unveiled face, beholding as in a mirror the glory of the Lord, are being transformed into the same image from glory to glory, just as by the Spirit of the Lord." So it's biblical that we will, once we trust in God, that we will be transformed, shaped, and molded according to His will. 2 is we should expect trouble.
It's horrible. But it's true.
They're mugging me off with that false interpretation. A lot of people think that like the Christian life or having a faith in Jesus and being a Christian is about being perfect. And so non-Christians set Christians up to be like, that means that they should behave like this. And actually they should, but also it's being real and going, that person is a person, they're not God, and they will make mistakes. Jesus promised us trouble. He promised us tribulation, conflict, even persecution.
Yeah, but it's through that trouble, it's through that pain, it's through that process that our faith is tasted like the gold. There's a verse in the Bible that says like our faith will be taste like the gold.
Tested.
Yes, like the gold goes through really, really like high temperatures. Refined. It even changed, from being solid to liquid. It completely changed. But if it wouldn't be for that, all the impurity. No.
Oh right, impurity.
Yes, wouldn't be taken off of the gold.
Yeah. And then it returns back to its form. Boom.
Yes, and shine.
Absolutely. So actually, like as we're being changed through Jesus, as that transformation's taking place, like you will be attacked for that, because obviously if we believe in God, we believe in an enemy that wants that completely taken away, and so opposition will come, and it's also evidence that, you know, in a lot of ways, your troubles can be evidence that God is at work in you.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
The third one is life. So we can expect to be given life. There's a few different ways you go down that. But when I was a non-Christian, no, when I became a Christian, a lot of people said to me, especially people that it was new for, were like, "Oh, well, that means that now you can't do this, this, and this," as in it limited my life. And actually, what I saw was the complete opposite. I'm not under the chains of having to impress other people anymore. I'm not in the chains of living a life to please other people. I'm in the life. I'm in life, living, and actually, God gives me more as a result. Like, we can live life with abundance, basically, in abundance. As a result, and that allows me to truly live and enjoy life for what it is. And also from a spiritual sense, like, we're not, that is, it's true life, you know, a future, eternity. You know, we get to live with Christ, which is amazing. We can expect significance. So you may not know how your life, you may not always know how your life will count for the kingdom of God, but you can be sure that it will. You know, I think God uses the people that least expected to be used, and society would say that they're least important in those terms, but God really took them and did significant things with them. And we believe that, you know, as Christians, that if we trust in God, that He will do significant things through us, like in us and through us. So there's an outward manifestation of that, and also that our lives have significance. You're right.
Sorry.
Who is that interrupting our podcast? That is not good. Is it, Thea? I'll just do the next one. Yeah, which is a future. So we just talked a little bit about that. So we talked about, so I'll cover this one aspect of it, and that's this life. We have a future that God really wants the best for us, in His way, not in our way. And it means following what we feel like God is leading us to do on a daily basis, but also in eternity. If only for this life we have hope in Christ, we are to be pitied more than all men. 1 Corinthians 15:19. So we can live without the same limits that other people live, knowing that this life is not all there is. I think, living without fear, living with a hope, living without, you know, the chains of, what if this, I don't have to hold on to the same things of this world because this is all we've got, but knowing that actually this is temporary, and will go. And the last thing is, and number 6 is, we can expect to never be alone, and really trusting and knowing that God is always with us, that, like, He's promised to be with us in every single, whether we're on our own as individuals or with our spouse or girlfriend, boyfriend, that we are with God all the time, that God is with us and He promises to be with us, whether we're sick, well, rich, poor, happy, sad. He's absolutely it's an absolute guarantee. Matthew 28:20 says, surely I am with you always to the very end of the age. And so, I think that was important, you know, is that we kind of want to, in our podcast with each other, talk about relationships and our relationship. And I think we've done that. I think we talked about, with expectations being the headline, we've been able to talk about expectations for people, ourselves, our relationships, and also for God. So thank you so much today for joining us. It's been great to be able to share with you our expectations, our life. Anything you want to add?
No, just that I think it's perfect.
Smashed it. Perfect. Well, guys, perfect.
Thea wants to say hello. Come on, Thea.
Yeah, she does. If you're on video, Thea's here. She's so happy.
She's
I can
beautiful.
just tell.
She's our little baby.
She is our little baby. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us today. We hope we've challenged you. If there's anything you disagree with, agree with, or encouraged by, let us know.
Let us know.
Yeah.
If you listen to the podcast, let us know, because it is important for us to know what you have to say, or any comment or anything.
Yeah. We can be it's very easy to be a consumer of this type of thing, to listen, to take it in. But it's great. We really count it as an encouragement to us if you're to send anything about what you've heard today, what we've talked about, even if it's negative, because it's engagement, and we appreciate that. We appreciate the conversations and making a way for this to be done. And if there's anything you need, get in contact with us. But thanks, guys, for tuning in for another episode 15 of
When Two or More with the McCaws.
Of course. Fantastic. We did it. We smashed it. Peace out, guys. Take care and see you soon. Bye-bye.